Good morning, everyone. We'll get straight into it today. Start on your hands and knees, hands underneath shoulders and knees underneath hips. We're going to be on our wrists quite a bit today. So we're going to start with some wrist push-ups. Leave all 4 fingers and all 4 knuckles on the earth. As you breathe in, start to peel the heel of the hand up and the thumb along with it. And as you breathe out, slow and controlled, try and land both heels of your palms on the earth at the same time. A breath in, let them lift up, thumbs flex. A breath out, slowly drop both heels of your hands down. Take 3 more like this. Just trying to control the breath and the movement. It's really important that we warm up and strengthen this part of the body because it's not one that we often use, especially outside of yoga. And just one more here. See if you can slow it down a little bit more. Slowly drop them down. Really nice. Just roll out the wrists real quick. And then turn your hands back so your fingertips are pointing towards your knees and start to shift weight back and forward. Just finding some length through the back side of the forearm, but keep gripping the fingers into the mat, even here. It's still really important that we keep this engagement through the wrists any time that we place our hands on the mat to create that co-contraction of muscles. So just take one more breath in this movement. And then slowly turn the hands back around. If you need to shake them out, you're more than welcome. We're going to move into some disco cats. So as you breathe in, drop your belly down, lift your gaze up. As you breathe out, flare your ribs out to the right side. Breath out, continue to round through the spine up in space. Breath in, ribs will flare towards left, belly down, chest forward, gaze up. When you breathe out, start to barrel roll towards the other side. Just 2 more rounds like this to wake up through the spine. Trying to marry that breath and movement still here. That fluidity in the spine and the breath is really present. Next breath in, find that neutral spine. Really nice. Come into our first downward facing dog. Keep gripping your hands into the mat. And from your wrists all the way to your lowest spine and hips is this beautiful straight line. A bend in the knees is really important. And then a flaring of the sitting bones up in space to find length through the hamstrings. And just take a second. Start to wrap your triceps back in space if you haven't already. Keep the engagement through the upper half. As you breathe in, rise up onto your toes. As you breathe out, drop both heels over to the left. Good. So you're on the outer edge of your left foot, inner edge of your right foot. Keep pushing the floor away, hips still high, but with a slight bend in your knees. Your right hand, ground it down really firmly. See if you can find this side body sensation. Take your last breath out, push your belly button in towards your spine. As you breathe in, rise back up onto the toes. Heels drop to the right. Inner edge of your left foot, outer edge of your right. And keep that V-like shape in the body. Even though we're a little twisted up here, it's still important that the hips are high so we can now find the left side body. Keep that left hand grounded. One more breath out. Rise up onto your toes, breathe in, and walk your feet to your hands as you exhale. Just take a forward fold. Belly rests on thighs. And from your hips down in space is really heavy and grounded. But from your hips up in space, no energy whatsoever. Just allow the torso, the shoulders, the head to become a weight, to pull length through the hamstrings. And take your last breath out here, fold into the space. A halfway lift as you breathe in, crown of head forward. And forward fold as you breathe out. Urdhva Hastasana. Hands rise up, they'll touch at the top of your breath in. A whole breath out to forward fold. Slow and steady. Take that halfway lift, crown of head shifting forward in space. Plant the hands down, step back, high plank. Land here. Collarbones broaden forward. Push the floor away, tuck your tailbone down. You can take little movements, little circles if you want to warm up the wrists even more, yogi's choice. Listen to the body. We're going to take one more round of breath. Shift forward in space as you breathe in. Lower all the way down to your belly as you breathe out. Cobra pose as you breathe in. Peel up, squeeze shoulder blades, crown of head forward. Lower down as you exhale. We'll do that 2 more times. As you breathe in, feel the back line engaged to lift up the chest. Lower down using your whole breath out. 1 more time. Maybe you hover the hands now. Keep pulling crown of head forward. Lower down, slow and steady as you breathe out. Push to your all fours. Keep the belly engaged. Now downward facing dog to follow as you exhale. Really nice, guys. Land and catch the breath. All right. Slow and steady. Raise your right leg up to the sky. Take your right knee towards your right armpit as you breathe out. And then drop that knee towards your wrist as you breathe in. Hug it back up in space as you breathe out. Just 1 more time. Drop it down in space. Keep the belly engaged. Lift it back up. 3-legged dog as you breathe in. Foot to floor as you exhale. Let's go to the other side. Left leg, let it lift. Whole breath in. Take the knee to your armpit. Stay really buoyant through the upper body. Drop it down as you inhale. Use the breath out to squeeze it back up. 1 more time. Drop it down. Hug it back up. 3-legged dog, breathe in. Foot lands to the earth as you breathe out. Take a moment. Find your breath. After that little bit of core engagement, just land. We'll take 1 more breath in this stillness. Rise up onto your toes, breathe in. Bend your knees as you exhale. Step, jump or float to the hands. Land in that halfway lift, breathe in. Fold over as you exhale. Hands rise up. Urdhva Hastasana, take a big breath in. Hands to heart, Samasthitahi as you breathe out. If you're not at the front of your mat, maybe you step there now. I'm going to ask you guys just to take a moment with your breath. Land in this stillness. Take 1 more breath in, expand through your belly. Push your belly button to your spine as you breathe out. Utkatasana, chair pose, breathe in and land. Tailbone tucks down and under. Super common, we want to flare our tailbone out here, but tuck it under by taking the belly button towards the spine. Keep your biceps by your ears if you can. Now here, we're really going to warm up through the legs. As you breathe in, rise up onto your toes. Breathe out, ground your heels. 2 more times like that. Breathe in, find buoyancy, keep your gaze still. Breathe out, land. Last one, inhale, rise up. Exhale, heels down. Urdhva Hastasana, straighten the legs and the arms, breathe in. Hands to heart as you breathe out. Chair pose is going to be our starting point today. If you want your hands at your heart instead of overhead, you're more than welcome. Again, yogi's choice. Listen to the body. Breathe out, push your belly button in towards your spine. Get rid of all of the stale air. Utkatasana, chair pose, breathe in and sit low. Land just for 2 rounds of breath. Keep the breath really fluid throughout this time. Last inhale. Ground your right foot, lift your left. Dekasana. Collarbones forward. Shoulder blades squeezing, hips square to the earth. Keep your gaze really still. We're going to take a slow transition here into half moon. Take your last breath out. Start to reach your right hand towards the earth, left hand up in space. Peel your hips open and land in your half moon. This is a really tough shape. If you need a block or a pillow underneath your right hand, you're more than welcome. Let's take one more big breath in. Warrior two, start to bend through that front knee. Ground that back foot straight away. The outer edge of your back foot grounds. We want to ensure we're not dumping any pressure to the inner knee on the back leg. You guys can land deep into this posture. I know each and every one of your legs can do this. Shoulders can be soft, but arms are still really strong. And keep your gaze still. Take your last breath out. Straight leg reverse. Breathe into the side bodies. Start to reach forward and tip Trikonasana. Now here we're not aiming to touch the earth. If you can, that's great. But if you can't, please don't worry about it. That front leg, if it's got a little bend, that's perfect. But here we want these bottom obliques to work. So ensure that you're lifting up and out of the hips. And you're peeling that left shoulder back in space to keep an open chest. And take that last breath out. Regular reverse. Mindfully rebend this front knee. Reverse your warrior. Extended side angle. Right elbow towards right knee. And this left arm reaches up and forward to extend that long line from the back foot. Keep the obliques on, your right obliques. Keep your gaze really still if you can. Let's take that last breath out, big transition. Stork pose, start to transfer that weight forward in space. Lift the left knee. Foot to floor, hands to heart. Breathe out, wobble the legs if you need. When you're ready, Utkatasana, chair pose, sit low, 2 breath hold. Land in this really strong shape. Pick where you're going to keep your gaze. That's really going to help. Last breath in. Ground the left foot, lift the right, Dekasana. Peel the chest open. Make sure this back leg is straight and on. The toes should be flexed. Keep your right glute squeezing. Take your last breath out. Half moon. Start to peel your hips towards the left, left hand reaching towards the floor. We'd much prefer to see it up on a block or floating in space than you dumping compression to this left hip. Take your last breath in, expand through your arms. Warrior two, slow and steady, drop this back foot with grace. Ground the outer edge straight away. That's a fantastic transition to build body control, but we want to ensure we're really safe throughout it. Make sure you're really strong and heavy through the legs. Pushing down through this outer edge, even now. Take your last breath out, that release is coming. Straight leg reverse. Feel that front thigh release. Reach forward in space, tip Trikonasana, a whole breath out to find this shape. Now here, this left hip crease, you can peel it back in space and your right forward in space. It's just going to offer your SIJ a little bit of room. Keep reaching that top hand up. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, lift your gaze to meet it. Good. Take your last breath out. Regular reverse. Rebend the front knee. Find the side bodies again. Extended side angle. This left elbow is just a guide. We're not placing any weight into it. It's there to show us where our depth should be. Keep reaching top hand forward. Spin pinky fingers towards the earth. A little more if you haven't already. Last breath out. Start to square the hips towards the front of the mat. Stork pose. Breathe in. Hands to heart. heart, foot to floor as you exhale. This is our flow. It's landed in the body, but erase any of those expectations or judgments. Just move to the rhythm of your breath. On your next inhale, Utkatasana, sit low in your chair pose. Right foot grounds, left lifts, Dekasana, collarbones broaden forward. A whole breath in to find half moon, peel the hips and the shoulders open in space. Virabhadrasana 2, drop that back foot with grace and land. Straight leg reverse. Feel that front thigh. Reach forward as far as you can. Exhale and tip. Trikonasana. Rebend that front knee. Regular reverse. Inhale. Extended side angle. Reach with that left hand forward in space. Stork pose as you breathe in. Transfer the weight. Lift up. Whole breath out. Foot to floor, hands to heart. Utkatasana, sit deep, breathe in. Left foot grounds, right buoyant, keep the leg on. Half moon, expand and inhale. Drop the back foot slowly, build the body control, warrior 2. Straight leg reverse, take a big breath in. Trikonasana, reach forward and then tip. Regular reverse, rebend this front knee mindfully. Extended side angle, left elbow just a guide. Stork pose, square the hips, transfer the weight, breathe in. Foot to floor, hands to heart. Focus on your breath, guys. Utkatasana, inhale. Feel buoyant as your right foot pushes into the earth and your left lifts. Think about expanding through the whole body as you breathe in, half moon. Drop with grace, warrior 2, stand strong in this shape. Reverse, find that fluidity as you inhale. Reach and tip, Trikonasana, you've got a whole breath out. Regular reverse, find those side bodies. Extended side, hips down grounded, hips up buoyant. Stork pose, push the floor away with your right foot to lift your left knee. And we go again. When you're ready, sit deep into your chair. Dekasana, breathe out. You guys know where to go. Find that half moon or whole breath in to arrive. Nice. Drop the back toes, back outer edge, ground it. Enjoy that reverse, open up. Reach and tip, Trikonasana. Rebend that front knee really mindfully. Inhale. Slow and steady. Extended side. You guys know where to go. Stork pose. Catch the balance. Foot to floor. Hands to heart. Breathe out. We're going to move through this one more time. Here's the greatest thing about online. If you're like India, I don't want to skip forward, but if you're ready, let's go. Sit down low into your chair, reach your arms high. Notice the sensation as this back leg lifts through the hips. Then peel the hips open as you breathe in. Reground that back foot as you breathe out. Enjoy that straight leg reverse. Open up. Reach forward, tip, gaze to your top hand. Regular reverse. Find this fluidity through movement. Extended side angle. Use your exhale. Push your right foot into the earth to lift the body up. Breathe in. Foot to floor, hands to heart. Breathe out. Last one, guys. By now, these transitions should all be moving seamlessly into one long movement. We're not looking for this jolty practice. We want to ensure that each and every movement follows into the next one. It's as seamless as the transition between our breath in and our breath out. Really nice. Keep those obliques on through your extended side. Last stalk pose. Catch that balance. Foot to floor, hands to heart, eyes closed down. Just because we're not in our physical space together does not mean that we don't have these mindful pauses. Push your thumbs into your heart center. Feel your heart beating into your hands. After moving through this relatively dynamic flow, we want to feel the energy moving through the body. Appreciate what we've just created instead of moving past it. And this is how we bring mindfulness into our practice. And just one more big breath into the belly. And even longer breath out. We're going to move straight into our arm balance today. If you need to sit down and take a break, you're more than welcome to watch Tyler, or if you want to move through this with us, that's perfect. Slow and steady, start to drop your hands towards the earth. Step your left foot back in space. Come into a lizard lunge. Now we're coming into Vinyasa. This is one way to enter this shape. For some of us, you'll find this way easier. You're going to walk your hands back in space. Keep your right foot to the outer edge of your right hand. Tyler has the back of his right tricep on the back of his right thigh, on his hamstrings. Now from here, take a bend in the elbows, hug them to the midline, broaden your collarbones, and start to shift forward in space. This right foot will lift off of the earth, maybe. And then as you continue to shift further forward, maybe this left foot lifts up in space, maybe. All right, we'll exit this way, and we'll show you the other way to get into this shape. From a downward facing dog, right leg will lift, three-legged dog. Still use a breath into arrive. Your right knee, see if you can get it as high onto your right tricep as possible. Land it there. Keep that knee connected to the tricep. Start to bend through the elbows, broaden your chest forward in space. Maybe right leg straightens. Maybe you shift so far forward, this left glute starts to lift the left leg back in space. Again, maybe. Now we're going to come onto this on the other side just to show you guys what it looks like from this side of the camera. Left leg will lift, still use a breath in. Aiming to get that left knee as high onto the tricep as possible. Make the connection first, it needs to be above the elbow. If that left leg can't get straight, you can keep it bent, that's totally fine. Really, really nice. We've worked really hard to get into this shape. So if you want to give it a go, give it a go. If you need to pause this, please pause it. We would love for you guys to experiment with these postures. Your body is ready and it's safe to play. But if you're ready to move on, start to ripple your body forward into a high plank. And then just lower all the way down to the ground. Land here. Start to feel the belly push against the mat as you breathe. Notice how quick your breath has become and slow it down with an exhale. And just 2 more breaths, laying in this shape. Be mindful, feel the breath. We've been working a little bit through our obliques today. We're going to continue with that. We're going to come into a side Shalabhasana. Guys, roll onto your right side. Bring your right hand out in front in line with your shoulder. We're going to use a breath in to lift up towards the sky. Your left hand, reach it down towards your feet. And here we're using this right arm to stabilize, not to push the floor away. Keep lifting the left side of your body up to the sky and feel this whole side body turn on. We're going to stay for another 4. Keep lifted. 3. Breath fluid. 2. Hold breath out to land down to the earth. Roll back onto your belly and catch your breath. lose breath control. Breath out, really slow. Let's roll on to the other side. Really slowly find the right side. Make sure that that arm is in line with the shoulder. On a breath in, start to pull the side bodies up towards the sky. Legs included. They're still hugging in towards the midline, but we're trying to lift everything up towards the sky. You're going to feel this in the obliques, anywhere along the side body. Breath stays fluid. Don't ever compromise your breath. Another 3, stay lifted. 2, 1, slowly lower down, land on your belly and breathe. One cheek rests to the earth. That mindful pause, feeling the heartbeat against the mat, feeling the need to breathe. Maybe you're so centered you can catch that moment the inhale turns into an exhale. And just one more breath like this. Bring your hands to frame your ribs. Take an upward facing dog or a cobra as you breathe in. Downward facing dog as you breathe out. Land in this shape. We haven't been here much in this class. Just feel the length in the hamstring, the length in the upper body. Make sure the breath remains fluid. And start to lift your right leg up to the sky as you breathe in. Take your knee towards your right armpit as you breathe out and step to the outer edge of your right hand, lizard lunge. For those yogis whose legs need a break, you can bring this back knee to the earth. But if you're happy to stay high up on the toes, please stay. Just make sure this back leg is turned on and you're broadening the back of your left knee to the sky. From the back heel all the way through the crown of the head, there should be this long line. It's like you want to pull your chest through your shoulders, forward in space. You can start to take the hips down and forward a little more if you've got that length and that space. Just keep breathing here. We're starting to find this active length in the legs. After building the heat, we're now finding that space that we desperately need. Stay for just one more round of breath. One more big breath in. And a really long breath out. Start to drop that back knee in space. Coming into twisted thigh, peel onto the outer edge of your right foot. Ground down through your left hand, reach your right arm up to the sky. And on an exhale, start to grab hold of that back foot. Now here, hips shifting down and forward, chest peeling open. And this hand is encouraging the heel in towards the sitting bone. This front shoulder, just ensure that you're taking the shoulder blade down the back and you're not dumping weight into the front of it. You want to stay really, really strong through this upper section. Maybe you squeeze your left glute on for a little bit more. And although there's a lot going on here, make sure you allow the breath to support you through this. Take your last breath here. Slowly unravel through the upper body. Plant your hands into the earth. Come up onto the back toe. You guys all know Tyler is a huge fan of jump switch. So we'll make his day a jump switch. It's exactly what it sounds like. If that's not accessible for you, don't worry about it. You can do a 20-step switch if you really need to. Just land in the shape on the other side. All of those same alignment cues. Length through the body. Right glute squeezing, hips down in space. That big toe mound on your front foot, can you ground that heavily into the earth? And that breath, even in these static postures, it's still our focus. It's our anchor. Keep supporting yourself through these sensations. And just one more long and luscious inhale. Feel that midsection expand. An even longer breath out as you drop this back knee down in space. Front toes, peel them out at a 45, but ensure that the toes are in the same line as the knee. Right hand grounds, left will lift. A breath out to twist through the torso and grab hold of this back foot. You guys will notice Tyler's hips are really far down in space. We want to avoid being in this kind of shape. As best as you can, let the hips drop. Peel this chest open and squeeze your right glute down. If you can, hug that leg in just a little more. Take the heel towards the sitting bone. Good. Breathe. There's a lot happening in the body right now. Twist through the thoracic. Right hip flexors and quads opening. Left hamstrings and adductors. There's a lot going on, so breathe through the sensation. Just one more round of breath. Slowly unravel. Bring both hands to the earth. Step back into your downward facing dog. Just feel the difference in the lower back. The difference from when we were here just before. How the sensation in the legs has changed because of that length that we found. Just one more big breath in. A long breath out. We're going to try and jump through our hands. If this isn't accessible, you can step your way there. Rise up onto your toes, breathe in. Bend your knees, breathe out. Step, jump, float through the hands. Land in a seat. Really nice. Bring your feet to nearly mat width distance apart and windscreen wiper your knees from side to side. This is a really beautiful movement to find after all of that length in the legs, just to wash any sensation away. Be really slow and mindful. There's no reason to rush this. Feel the difference from internal rotation in comparison to external rotation. Just one more slow movement from side to side. And then come back to center. Bring your right leg out long and your left in towards your body. Good. We're going to come into Janu Shirshasana. So start to square your chest off towards your right leg. As you breathe in, peel up through the spine. As you breathe out, hinge at the hips, sending your collarbones towards your foot. Really want to ensure here that we're not rounding through our spine. That we're activating our chest towards our toes and finding length. If you want a little more, you can always flex your toes. If there's a bend in that right knee, it's totally fine. Now that the practice begins to slow down, we should be guiding the mind in that same direction. Allowing it to be captivated by the breath even more so. Maybe you start to close down through your eyes. You start to find a little more space in between your thoughts. Take just 2 more rounds in this hold. In your last breath in, feel your midsection expand, lift you up in space naturally. And as you breathe out, pull a little deeper into that space. Your right arm, when you're ready, lay it long to the inside of your right leg. Spin your chest towards your left knee. Reach up and over with the left hand. Your left sitting bone and hip crease, energetically push that towards the earth. Keep it grounded. The more grounded we can keep this left side, the more we can lift up and out of it, finding length through the side bodies. Lower back, maybe the intercostal muscles, underneath our arm where it meets our torso. If you can, spin your pinky finger forward and down towards the earth. Just 2 more breaths. Slowly come up. Place your left hand behind your sitting bone. Reach your right hand up and back. Hip points forward. Make sure that your hip points are pushing as far forward as you can. Belly's on to support this back bend and open up through the whole anterior side of the body. Just 1 more big breath in, reach back in space. As you breathe out, slowly come down. Let's swap the legs over. Right heel in towards the body, left out low. Square the chest off to the left leg. Breathe in, find length through the spine. Breathe out, hinge at the hips, chest forward in space rather than rounding over. And know that you guys are totally in control of the amount of sensation you create. Maybe you start to play around with that. You lift the chest up in space a little, or maybe you draw it down in space a little. And just observe how the body offers you the sensation through the back of the left leg. Breath still supporting you throughout the sensation. If it's not too much, maybe that's where your attention lies. Or if you would prefer, feel that familiar sensation of your breath for just 2 more rounds. Slowly peel up and observe as the sensation changes. Chest squares to that right knee, left arm softly forms along the inner leg, right arm reaching up and forward while energetically grounding down through the right sitting bone. Pinky finger spins forward and down towards the earth. And here, your gaze can be wherever you want it to be. If the neck is uncomfortable looking up in space, you can look forward or down in space. This is our main focus, to open up the side body that we've worked quite a lot today in our Trikonasanas, in our extended side angles. This is a really fantastic way to open and lengthen those places that we've worked. Just 1 more fluid round of breath. hand down, hip points forward, left arm reaching back in space. Feel the front body open. Stay strong by grounding down through your right hand. Keep pushing the hips forward. One more big breath in, expand. Lower down as you breathe out. Let both legs out wide now. We're going to open up through the inner hips and start to reach up through the crown of your head. And then as slowly as you can, using a breath out, fold forward in space. We're trying as best as we can not to round through the spine here. So if you find by keeping the spine straight, you only move forward just a tiny bit in space, that's fine. As we say so often, it is not about what this posture looks like. It's not about your depth. It's all about the sensation. Keep the inner seam of both of your feet pushing forward. Don't allow the inner seam to roll in. Make sure that your feet stay active. Your chest keeps reaching forward in space. 2 more breaths. Really slow in and out of the belly. Start to peel up. Send both of your legs together. You're going to come into Paschimottanasana. You're going to come into the passive variation of this pose. So here, simply round over through the spine. Allow the chin to drop really heavy towards the chest. And that's where a majority of this sensation is going to be found, by tucking the chin to the chest. Now I know for a lot of people this sensation, even though it's passive, can be really fiery. That's because it's the largest line of fascia in our body beginning to open up. It's really needed, so as best as you can, keep breathing through the sensation that the body's offering you. I know it's just a conversation. This sensation is temporary. Keep breathing through it. Allow it to draw you in comparison to you avoiding the sensation that arises. Just 3 more breaths here. Really using this back end of class to slow things down and find a lot of space in the body. Keep breathing slow. Just 1 more breath in. Really long breath out. Peel up in space. Roll all the way down onto your back. And for a moment, just land in this temporary Shavasana. Feel the belly rise and fall. Maybe you bring your hands onto your stomach. Eyes closed down. And it's maybe in this moment you realize you don't lay here alone. You still lie in the shape with the rest of our community in this practice. Slowly start to ground both feet into the earth with a bend in the knee. Place your right knee on top and over your left knee. Good. If you can, take that bind by wrapping your right foot behind your left shin. If you can't create that bind, just keep the right knee on top of the left. And start to lift your knees towards your chest. And then allow this shape to drop over to the left side of your body, keeping your shoulder blades grounded. And this bind is just to encourage the knees to fall a little deeper into this twist. But know if that bind isn't there for you, you can come into any variation of a supine twist that feels best. Knees stacked on top of one another. Just any which way you know how to keep your knees heavy towards the left side. Your shoulder blades heavy, your chest open. Keep breathing really fluidly. Keep your eyes closed down. Allow the body to rinse itself of any sensations that linger, or anything that may have come up in this class that no longer serves you. Just 3 more rounds of breath on this side. Slowly begin to roll back towards center. Take your time. Unravel through your legs, reground your feet. Cross your left knee on top of your right. Your left foot behind your right calf. And allow this package to roll off to the right side of the body. Even as we twist through the torso, even as our organs move, our diaphragm moves, the breath is still our focus and it's never compromised. Start to allow the body to soften into this shape. Two more rounds of breath. Keep elongating that exhale. Once your 2 rounds are over, gently roll to center. Unravel through the legs. Take happy baby. The soles of your feet come towards the sky, your knees towards your armpits. Catch the outer edges of your feet. If you can't grab hold of your feet, you're more than welcome to catch behind your thighs. Keep drawing your knees in towards your armpits while trying to ground your shoulder blades to the earth. Maybe you take a little rock from one side to the other, just because it feels soothing and nice for the lower back. Even here, as we draw the knees in, the breath is fluid. And just find this space through the inner and the backs of our upper legs. 2 more breaths. slowly begin to release, land in Supta Baddha Konasana just for a couple of breaths. Our passive opener through the hips. Your hands can be placed gently on your belly so you can feel the rise and fall of your stomach. Or maybe you want to lift your arms up and overhead, clasping either elbow to bring in this opening through the whole body. Allow gravity in. Let it draw the outer knees down to the earth effortlessly. Offer your body up to its pull. No need to rush through the breath. See if you can become so mindful you feel the breath in transition to the breath out. See if you can catch that transition just 3 more times. Observing that moment of true stillness as that belly transitions from a rise to a fall. Last one. Once you're ready, Shavasana awaits, our last and final pose. You can lay on your back, your belly, or your side, whatever feels right. But once you land. Commit to this stillness. Allow this practice to fuse together as one and land within the body. Jaw is soft. And when it all becomes a little too much in the mind, allow the breath to anchor you back into your stillness and presence. Begin to reconnect to the body. Feel the belly rise and fall as you breathe deeper, longer breaths. Maybe you introduce a little bit of movement that turns into you rolling to one side. Land for a moment. Enjoy this last little bit of stillness as you move forward from this practice. Begin to rise up to a seat. Once you've landed in your seat, bring your hands into Anjali Mudra. bow your head to your hands. Together, we honor the practice. Together, we honor each other, and together, we honor ourselves. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Please let us know how you went. If you have any questions, anything at all, we are still here for you.
Thank you guys. See you next time.